we begin the trial between the United States and USSR and their conversation about the future between the two.
So, I know we've had our differences in the past, but I think instead of fighting this in such a mere way as fighting, we could think of a more sophisticated method to solve this.
I agree with that statement. You know, fighting doesn't solve anything. Let's put this to a test of intellects.
Potentially. What are you thinking?
I was thinking space race. Some of my engineers and my head engineer, Sergio Pavlovich Korolev, he's a brilliant man. We think we can outrun you in the space race. And once and for all, this will determine who is the stronger in the intellects of the nations.
Yeah, you think that, but the problem is we have Alan Shepard. He's one of the smartest individuals alive. And then we have a whole agency. We just made NASA. We are going to destroy you in this. We will be the first to space, the first to the moon, and ultimately we'll win this whole Cold War. Not with fighting, but with intellect.
You think that? You just wait.
Oh, you see. You'll see.
Now, we cut to this training montage between each of the two nations.
Alright, Yuri, make sure you know what rocket propulsion is. This is going to be your key in surviving in the rocket. If you forget what rocket propulsion is, you will die. There is no way to save you when we are hundreds and thousands of miles away from you. And remember this function, sin x over cos x is equal to tan x, and the integral of x squared plus ex to the power of 2. This is your key equation. This will allow you to know how much fuel to air ratio you need to have, and so make sure that you have all of these in proper components or else you will die. This is going to be your rocket that will behold you to the wonders of space. Okay.
This is the training program of the US.
So, ultimately, you will get to the Freedom 7 rocket. The Freedom 7 is the most important invention of NASA, and this will be used to propel you into space. However, in order to get here, you have to understand how the rocket direction works. It works as an exponential function. Remember that this needs to grow as time goes on. And then as time goes on, it continues growing. Right? And then ultimately, you'll need to remember this function, y equals e of x. Right? So, it's going to be very difficult to understand.
Oh. Teacher, I have a question.
Yes?
Why don't you remember every chopper?
I am Yuri Gagarin, and this is the high-tech rocket simulator.
This is the new USSR rendition of spaceflight. Now, we watch Yuri Gagarin practice his flight training. Good job.
My name is Alan Shepard, and today I'm going to be practicing my spaceflight using the United States state-of-the-art training facility. Now, let's begin. Okay, so this is simulating the exponential graph, as you can see. We're going into space. Reaching terminal velocity, and as of right now, we've hit it. Space. That's where the end of the simulation is.
Now we cut to Yuri Gagarin as he enters into space for the first time.
Good night, space. Finally made it. First man in space. Oh!
This is the first W for the US.
I am Yuri Gagarin, a simple son of the Soviet Union. I was born in the small village of Klushino, raised with a love for the skies and machines that would one day carry us beyond them. For my days as an Air Force pilot, soaring through the clouds, I always dreamed of what lay beyond our world. And on April 12, 1961, that dream became reality. I boarded Vostok 1 and became the first human to journey into space. I circled the Earth for nearly 108 minutes. I saw our planet as no one had before. Beautiful. I shouted, Poye Kali, which means let's go in Russian. But this achievement was not mine alone. It was the work of brilliant engineers from the USSR, scientists, and the determination of the Soviet people. We proved that humanity could leave its home, survive the unknown, and return safely. This was not only the beginning. My flight opened the door for future explorers, for greater missions beyond Earth. And I say to you now, never stop reaching for the stars.
Welcome, guests. I am now going to be talking about the Vostok spacecraft. The Vostok spacecraft itself was 4.3 meters long, with a diameter of 2.4 meters and a launch mass of approximately 4,730 kilograms. It consisted of two main components: the descent module, Sharik, a special spherical capsule designed for re-entry, protected by a heat shield to withstand temperatures exceeding 3,000 Celsius during atmospheric re-entry. It was equipped with life support systems, including oxygen tanks, so that in any case of emergency, Yuri Gagarin could survive. And the instrumental module, cylindrical in shape and housed avionics, batteries, and telemetry systems. Featured a liquid-fueled retro rocket to slow the capsule.
Now we cut to Alan Shepard flying into space in the Freedom 7.
What the hell? What? Wait, I'm weightless. I think I'm finally in space. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alan Shepard, and I was the first American man in space. That morning, on May 5th, 1961, I stepped into the Mercury Redstone 3 capsule. I was strapped in on the Freedom 7, and was sent flying into space in a fiery jolt, a roar. It was crazy just how much I was able to achieve in those 15 minutes and 22 seconds above Earth. But moving at above 5,100 miles per hour, it was a very strong feeling. I knew at that moment that the dreams and all the scientists have worked for were on my shoulders. So as I flew up into space, I realized I had achieved my dream and the dreams of many Americans. However, I don't see this as an end. I see this as a path to move forward, to move from space all the way to the moon.
Freedom 7 was the spacecraft used in the Mercury Redstone 3 mission. It carried our chief rocketeer, Alan Shepard, on May 5th, 1961, making him the first American in space. Ultimately, this was a huge breakthrough for space shuttles. Ultimately, there are many technical details that are a reason to this. Ultimately, this is a Mercury capsule, and it was launched from the Redstone MR7, a vehicle which helps launch the rocket into space. Ultimately, we launched this from Cape Canaveral, Florida, on May 5th, 1961, and it had a maximum speed of over 8,200 kilometers per hour. Ultimately, its downrange distance was over 486 kilometers, or 302 miles, thus making it a state-of-the-art spacecraft. Disagree on many things. Ultimately, it was a great run with you. And now, we have to focus on the final challenge, the first person to go to the moon.
I agree.
Thank you very much.